Okay, so remember, in the other room now there is a traditional surrogacy session on Jizz and Jazz in the other room if you're looking at traditional surrogacy. Okay, so where's the clicker? There it is there. Okay, thanks for coming. It's really good to have you here because I know you help a lot of Australians who are coming home after surrogacy. What Poonam and I decided we'd do is we'd just walk through some of the processes, and then I'm going to do a bit of a Q&A with Poonam about what work she does, because she works really with the Australian embassy officials in London, in Poland and other countries where we have embassies to expedite exit for Australians and people from the UK and Ireland and so forth. Is this going to... Oh, do we have a present? Oh, here we go. So, general principles I want to talk about to you, because this is a complicated area, and we do, Family Surrogacy does consulting in this area for couples to make it easier and cheaper for you. If your kids are born overseas, they usually become citizens based on something called citizenship by descent, so a DNA connection to you, okay? And once that citizenship is conferred, you can apply for a passport. Although, some countries like the US and Canada will grant those kids citizenship of the US or Canada and a passport of US or Canada automatically. And you'll travel home on that passport and then do all the Australian stuff when you get back home. Okay, so countries like, and we'll get to which ones don't in a minute. So where citizenships and passport are granted for US or Canada, you take that up, travel home with your child on that passport, the US or Canadian one, and then apply for your Australian stuff back here. So what are the differences? So the US has a US court order and Canada has a similar document which you're going to be using instead of a DNA test to prove that the child is yours. For other countries though, you're using overseas like Greece or Ukraine or Georgia or Mexico, they don't grant citizenship, so the children are born stateless until you can acquire Australian citizenship for them. And that needs a DNA test done or a court order done in that country. And that will take about some time, some weeks. And you can't travel until you've got the Australian passport. So Poonam's role is to speed that part up a bit and to make sure everything flows properly, because we do get Australians who get stuck overseas for months on end unless you know what you're doing. So there are a lot of documentation required, whether you're doing that documentation back here after a birth in the US or Canada or doing the documentation overseas. So we encourage you guys all to be very aware of those documents before you're going over for a birth, because there's lots of stuff you need to get signed while you're away. And if you don't get it done, you're going to be stuck over there for a long time. Things like, your birth certificates, which are apostilled and translated birth certificates of the child and so forth. Many of these documents need to be certified by a notary, and you've got to know which need to be certified by what sort of a notary. Okay, so exit time. So US and Canada, you're home in about 2.5 weeks. Then you do Australian stuff here. Ukraine and Georgia and other countries, it's around 8 to 10 weeks at the moment. A bit quicker if you expedite it. Mexico seems a bit longer still, about 12 weeks if the birth's in Mexico. For Australians, this is. Different countries have different processes. This is only the process for Australians if you have an Australian passport as a parent. Okay, if you're a UK citizen, for example, you're going to be over in Ukraine for 3.5 months. Okay, so if you're done the US or Canada, you'll submit your documents back here to Foreign Affairs and Trade. Are they still called that? That's Home Affairs now, yeah. Which have an office in Hobart. You'll mail all the documents down there, and there's wads of them they'll need, and you'll get back your citizenship in about 5 to 6 weeks if you're lucky for the child. You'll be entering the country with a child on a tourist visa in a US or Canadian passport. That tourist visa lasts for 3 months. As long as you've submitted your documents for citizenship before that 3 months expires, you're okay. For other countries, your documentation is sent to